The next challenge that I think that most immigrants face when they come into the country, especially the ones that have been driving back home, is the difficulty obtaining the Canadian license. I wouldn't call it a difficulty, quite all right, because there's a process in every country that you go to. I will give you and my family as an example. When we got in this country, because we came from the UK, my husband has a full UK license and I did not, because I was busy, too lazy, scared of driving in UK. I wouldn't say scared, but I just didn't want to do anything. I preferred, people carry me up and down. And then I felt it when I got to this country, because when we got to this country, my husband was able to change his license to get the Canadian license. He got the G2, and I, of course, needed to look for how to get an extract from Nigeria, because I was driving back home in Nigeria. So I needed to get an extra. So I got an extract from the embassy, and, I was able to, take the extract to the driving tests so that they could look and I could book for my G1. So the way it works is that if you are able to provide an extract from Nigeria, is you would be able to write the G1 test. It's an examination written test. You'll be able to write the G1 test. If you pass the G1 test, you can proceed to write your to do your G, your full G. That's if you're coming from Nigeria and you have an extract. So my husband, the reason why my husband was given a G2 and not a G was because he didn't have enough years of driving from the UK, but he was able to get a G2 the next day that we got in this country, and he was able to start driving around. And now he's qualified to get his G. He's preparing to get his G in a few days. So the tip that I would add for you is, if you're coming from Nigeria and you've been driving, Nigeria particularly, because Nigeria don't have the, the exchange policy with Canada. Other people from other countries like USA and UK that I know of, I don't know about other countries, they are able to exchange their license and get the Canadian license right there and then. But if you're coming from places like Nigeria or other African country, you would need to get an extract and to take to the driving test. So the extract would qualify you to write the G1 test, to pay to write the G1 test, and also proceed to write your full G. So the tip that I would advise for new immigrant coming from Nigeria is that you get an extract from FRSC that you're driving for so years. They put your details, the details of your current Nigerian license, they put that on the letter, and they addressed it to the Canadian province that you are coming to, or to whom it may concern. I don't really know how it works, but my letter was addressed to, where it should in Canada. And also, just make sure you get that extract, because without that extract, you would not be able to, take the G1 test. Then you would now, they will classify you as a non-driver, and you now have to wait for a full 8 months after your G1 to be able to drive at all in Canada. Also, if you're coming from Nigeria and you have your current license, it hasn't expired, you are qualified to drive in Canada for 60 days. You can drive in Canada pending, around, but you would need to get an insurance, which might be very, very expensive. So you would need to do that before you can drive. But of course, you can drive with your Nigerian license as long as it has not expired. So that's that on difficulty getting a Canadian license. I wouldn't say it's a difficulty, but where you are coming from, you are not able to, you move around, you do whatever you want to do with your car, but coming here as a new immigrant with the snow, the cold weather, and you are not able to get your license like almost immediately, it is a challenge. So that's that on difficulty getting the Canadian license. The other thing that I would want to talk about is another challenge, which I find a very, very huge challenge, is transportation. Coming from Nigeria, there's Uber, there's Danfo, there's whatever it is, Korope, that's Keke Napep. We have all of those transports very accessible to us. Coming from the UK, especially London, has the most incredible transport system. It's so good that you would not find yourself hanging, trying to get a bus or the train. It runs almost like every 5 minutes. But here in Canada, it is not like that. It is so different. Transportation in Canada is not what it is. Most people have a car because the distances, you might try to order an Uber and it will tell you 7 minutes. That 7 minutes is like where you're going to is probably behind your house. But because of how wide the roads are here, it's so long. Bus system in Toronto is really great. If you are living in places like Toronto, the buses are accessible. The transport system in Toronto is very good. That's if you are living in Toronto. If you are not living in Toronto, you are living in places out of Toronto. It's not always easy to move around. For example, where I live in, the transport is not, you might be going to somewhere and it's just 20 minutes and the bus is telling you 1 hour. So how do you reconcile that? The transport system is not so great in this country. So one tip that I would always tell people coming into this country is, if you have that money, you can save to buy a car. Perfect. Get a car once you land into Canada. It is doable. The other thing that I would say is, if you are able to manage, prepare ahead for wherever you are going to. Look at your Google Map. Always use your Google Map to check when the bus times are coming. Stay at the bus stop before the buses are there. At least 30 minutes, especially if you're going to work or if you have an appointment or if you have anything to do as urgent. At least stay 30 minutes at the bus stop waiting for the bus. Not 30 minutes because it's really cold. At least time yourself depending on how far the distance is from your place to the bus stop. Do that and I'm pretty sure that you'll find it a little bit easy. I'm just so frustrated because where I would take my car to ordinarily for 10 minutes, it would take me an hour to get there or 30 minutes to get there by bus. And I know that we do not have that time to waste. And it's really cold in Canada. So you can imagine having to wait at the bus stop for a bus when there's a snowstorm or when it's extremely cold. It would frustrate you. And so you want to think of, why am I in this country? Why am I in this country when I'm standing in the 33-degree snow? It is quite frustrating. So I would say that that's a challenge. And the tip that I have for survivor, if you have any family here that has a car and they are willing to drop you off quickly where you are going to, pick you up when you are coming back, that's also another tip that I have for you. But the most important one that I would recommend is, if you have the money, if you can save up for the money, get the money and get a car when you get to Canada. It is doable. It is achievable. As long as you've passed your G or your G2, you are able to move around anyhow you want. Especially we with kids. It's a whole lot of stress for us. So that is one of the challenges that I think new immigrants or newcomers to Canada face when they land in Canada. So the last challenge that a lot of people face when they move to Canada, like a lot of people say, but I don't relate, to be honest. And I wouldn't say it's coming from a bad place, because I knew what I was coming. I knew when I moved, I knew that I was going to be moving to a new country and it was going to be coming with its disadvantages. So the final thing I'm going to be talking about is loneliness, being alone, especially if you're a single person. It comes with its disadvantages of missing home and all of that. I would say that, yes, we're coming from a place where we had lots of people around us. Then coming to Canada and all of a sudden everybody is minding their business. You don't have people you could talk to, you are lonely, always indoor. You are now, restricted to communicating with people on social media. Yes, you can beat that loneliness. And yes, they say people are busy. Everyone is busy trying to get a job, get the money, get the bag. Yes, it is important. But one thing that I always advise people is, when you move to a new location, do not restrict yourself to the fact that you just want to relate with, the people that you've always known. There are networking, groups that you could join. There are, just connect with people and find a way to, network with people in your surrounding, especially the Black communities in your surroundings. It really helps in terms of getting accommodation. It really helps in terms of getting a job. It really helps in terms of getting the right information that you need. So being lonely or saying that you miss home, it can really get cold during the very cold storm. You are not allowed to go out and all of that. Yes, you might not be allowed to go out, but those communities will hold you strong. They keep you sane, like they say. And the worst part of it is the time zone from here to Nigeria. It's not the same. You can barely keep up, because the time that they are sleeping is when you have time to talk to them, and the little time that you have in the middle to speak to them is when they're about to go to bed. So there's no way that you won't need or have to form a connection here. I'll take myself for an example. When I got here, of course, I had my sister here, which is great, which is a plus for me. But other than that, from the groups that I had from my pre-ITA or post-AOR PPR group, I was able to connect with people that, they told me, oh, there's a mommy's group, would you like to join? Or there's there's a group for people in your community, would you like to join? And it was good for me because I needed something like that. I joined the group, and they do so many activities on Zoom and all of that. It keeps you sane. It takes you away from the fact that you miss home, or you miss your friends, or you're not able to talk to your friends. You build new connections in this country, so you don't feel too depressed or too lonely. And the funny thing is, if you are sitting in your house in summer, for example, and you're not out there trying to network or trying to make friends or trying to go out to see the little ones that you have, you're not going to be able to make friends. Not like friendship should be the bedrock of your existence, but at least you are in a new country. You should be able to see how things are being done. You should be able to live a little bit. So when I said I can't relate, it's because I'm used to staying indoor anyway. But as long as I can connect and I can get the right information that I need at the right time, I don't take that chances. I'm always ready to go. So that's all about that in terms of loneliness, or in terms of being alone, scared in Canada. Oh, I miss home, and homesickness and all of that. That's all about that. Just the tips I would just say is just find what works for you. Try to network, try to speak to people, find a community, or volunteer. You can volunteer for things, and then you can, make sure that you make friends or you connect with people from there. So that's all about that on all the challenges. Like I said from the beginning of this video, nothing comes easy. Either you're moving to a new country, either you're starting all over again. Nothing is going to be easy. It comes with its own disadvantages, and you just need to deal with whatever it comes with. Because when you started this journey, you have made up your mind that, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it all through to the end. So don't let the challenges be a stumbling block for you. Don't let what you hear from people trying to discourage you. Oh, you're going to be a second-class citizen. You're going to be blah blah blah. Don't let that stop you from trying to leave, from trying to proceed, to find a new life for yourself. Okay, that's that. If you enjoyed this video, if you have any question you want to ask, please put them in the comment section. If you have any other form of challenges that that people are going through, or you want to talk about, or I did not talk about, please put that in the comment section and let's discuss about that. Or I can also learn as well from that. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, so that my channel can reach a larger audience, and then a lot of people can get to know more about my channel. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end, and I will see you back in my next video. Bye.